What's up, Meat Geeks? Nick here with Paradise Locker. As promised, we are back here today in our Primal dry age cooler to talk a little bit more about aging and about the difference between wet aging and dry aging. So first, we'll kind of talk about what each of them is. Wet aging is a cut, a ribeye loin, or a cut of meat that's sitting inside of a cryback package in an unfrozen environment. So sitting inside of a cryback package, sealed up, or in a refrigerated environment. So the dry aging process, conversely, is as you see behind me here. It's a piece of meat sitting out on a shelf, exposed to open air, and going through the aging process. The aging process works the same. Both of them work to tenderize the meat. Does it a little bit differently with a dry age versus a wet age. So one of the main differences that you're going to get from a dry age product compared to a wet age is the flavor profile that develops. As meat dry ages, or as beef specifically, and pork does the same. If you didn't know, side fact, you can dry age pork too. We do some here, but as meat dry ages, it develops a more robust, bolder flavor profile. For beef, for lack of a better word, it makes beef taste beefier. Whereas a wet age doesn't really impart that much difference in flavor of a finished product. So both of them still do the same thing. They both work to tenderize the meat. The dry age helps develop a different flavor. So as we go through here, you can kind of see some differences in meat as it dry ages. And so right here behind me, you can see, so this is some short loins that are dry aging on the rack. You can see these are really fresh. I think these were put on here yesterday or today. You can see a nice bright red rosy color compared to some loins. Here's some boneless strip loins, some bone-in strip loins that have some age. And you can kind of see how it starts to get darker as it ages. I'll take you over here where you can see some that have a little bit more age on them right there, and even some more over here that you're starting to see some blackening, some black color form. So what happens is as meat ages, like any other type of organic material, right, there's bacteria that start to form. And there's bacteria that are present. So as a loin ages, or dry ages, it starts to get some bacteria content, or some bacteria on the outside of the product. That bacteria will not penetrate or go inside of that meat, which is why the dry aging process works, and we can still eat it afterwards after sitting around for a while, because it won't penetrate inside, with the exception of two different factors. You're either going to give it a long enough time frame where that bacteria will actually start the spoilage process and you'll get penetration, so just a longer amount of time will allow that bacteria to penetrate inside the muscle tissue, or there's a cut or a puncture or something like that that allows the bacteria to start working its way inside. Other than that, once the dry age process is finished, all of that, the blacking that we saw with the short loins over there, that the outside of that is trimmed off, and it's usually only about 1/8 of an inch deep. And then you kind of come back to this nice bright rosy red color that you see here underneath all of that blackened age. We want to trim that off because that blackening is very, very bitter to the taste. It's not a pleasant eating experience, so we want to trim as much of that off and get back down to the good tasting meat underneath there. So the other difference is, like I said, more of a production difference. It's in yield loss and the weight that you lose with dry aging versus wet aging. In wet aging, you don't really have a lot of yield loss. Usually what you start with is really, really close to what you end with. In dry aging, with a 14 to 21 day dry age, you can lose 20 to 25% of your weight, of your start weight. So you can see what that translates to, and what you've seen at home, is that dry aged steak costs more than wet aged steak. If you're talking about the same grade, comparing apples to apples, a dry aged steak is going to cost more than a wet aged steak, and that's really the main thing, is that it's due to the weight loss. You get a 25% weight loss on a starting cut of meat. You're going to end up with less finished product, and so there, translates into a higher finished price. So once again, as always, we appreciate you stopping in. Let us know if you guys like this kind of stuff, seeing what happens in the back of the plant, and we'll see you next time.